Carly McKinney was a first-year math teacher at Overland High School in Aurora, Colorado. While it hasn't been proven that there was any funny business going on with students, the 23-year-old Carly came under harsh criticism when her Twitter account, Carly Crunkbear, came to light. Carly regularly posted not only inappropriate jokes having to do with weed and the jailbait status of her students, she also saw fit to post half-naked and rather suggestive photos of herself. While she claimed that the Twitter account was shared with a friend and was more of a parody account than an accurate representation of her life, she nevertheless deleted it after getting a phone call from a local news station. Of course, since we're talking about the internet, screen grabs galore of her naughty posts remain online. Many of Carly's young male students posted appreciative responses to her photos before the account was deleted. She insisted she never meant any harm, but as a first-year teacher still in her probationary period, the school district didn't waste much time determining her fate. After a brief suspension during which it was determined there was no evidence any crime had taken place, Carly was let go from her position. Male students at Kentucky's Dixie Heights High School were probably thrilled when the administration hired Sarah Jones, a former Cincinnati Bengals cheerleader with knockout good looks. After teaching at the school for several years, Sarah, who was married at the time, became involved with 17-year-old student Cody York. As rumors began to swirl around the school, they both denied the relationship, but Sarah nevertheless resigned her post in 2011. However, in 2013, charges were brought against Sarah for having sex with a minor, and she went on national television to defend the relationship. She admitted that she and Cody had been involved, but said that she was never her student, and claimed at first that she had never had sex with him while he was a minor. Jurors heard a number of lurid texts between the two, including one in which Sarah told Cody she had been in love with him since he was 14 years old. In the end, Sarah pleaded guilty to sex with a minor and took a plea deal in which she received no jail time. She divorced her husband, and in July 2013 announced her engagement to Cody. Lindsay Massaro was a student teacher of 8th graders at Frankfort Elementary School in Sussex County, New Jersey. In 2011, the father of one of her 15-year-old students reported to authorities that his son had been carrying on an affair with Lindsay, having sex with her multiple times at her house and in her car in the school parking lot. The 23-year-old college senior was arrested and charged with multiple crimes, including sexual assault and endangering the welfare of a minor. She had been working toward her teaching certificate in special education, but instead her life and career were completely derailed by a very public trial. In June 2011, Lindsay was convicted on second-degree sexual assault and ordered to serve 3 years in prison. In addition, she was made to register as a sex offender under Megan's Law and will have to deal with supervised probation for the rest of her life. A pretty steep price to pay for a fling, but perhaps Lindsay should have been looking in her college classes for dates instead of the middle school classes she was supposed to be teaching. In 2011, nude photos of teacher Michelle Preston began circulating around Shawnee Mission West High School in Johnson County, Kansas. While male students probably saw this as nothing to get too upset about, police didn't feel the same way when the racy pictures were brought to their attention. Michelle quickly came clean, admitting that she had had sex with 2 of her students, one of them at least 15 times, and had made out with another one in the basement of her house. Michelle was charged with unlawful sex with a minor, but Kansas law is a little bit tricky. Technically, although one is still considered a minor at 17, it is also the age of consent in Kansas, and Michelle's dalliances had been with boys who were 17 and 18 years old. For this reason, Michelle was unbelievably only sentenced to 36 months probation. And although she was made to register as a sex offender, that record was wiped clean when her probation ended. The judge said that if any of her victims had been 16 or younger, it would have been a totally different case. Shortly after her sentencing, Michelle and her husband, that's right, she was also married while she was messing around with her students, became the parents of a baby girl. Basketball coach Pamela Rogers Turner was a blonde bombshell who had been Miss Monday Nitro at WCW Wrestling's 1997 spring break. Also married to another basketball coach, the 27-year-old Pamela began a torrid affair with one of her students in 2005 while working at Centerville Elementary School in McMinnville, Tennessee. That's right, the object of Pamela's affections was only 13 years old, and in court she detailed their extremely intimate relationship which lasted 3 months. Pleading no contest to 4 counts of sexual battery, she received 270 days in the county jail and an 8-year suspended sentence, but this apparently did not teach Pamela a thing. While out on bail, it was discovered that she used her father's cell phone to send nude pictures and sex videos of herself to the boy she was convicted of having unlawful sex with, and also communicated with him on websites and blogs. Her probation was revoked and she was ordered to spend 7 years in the Tennessee State Prison for Women. Amazingly, in 2007, she had an additional 2 years tacked onto her sentence for sending nude pictures of herself to the boy again. Some teachers never learn. Heather Dodrill was another blonde in her late 20s with a thing for much younger boys, but she met the object of her desire at the camp at which she was an aide, a Bible camp in Louisiana. For several months, Heather would pick up the boy from school without the knowledge of his parents, and in the words of the police, subject him to sexual encounters of all kinds. Heather faced a laundry list of charges in 2 different counties owing to her all-over-the-map sexual relationship with her student, who was also only 13. She must be either incredibly charming or unbelievably lucky, because although she was sentenced to 5 years in prison, 4 of those years were suspended, meaning she only had to spend a year in jail. Davis High School in Salt Lake City, Utah was the site of another lurid scandal, when 36-year-old teacher Brianne Altice was accused of having sexual relationships with no fewer than 3 of her students, all of whom were 16 and 17 years old. Amazingly, the original complaint against her alleged that the school's management had been made aware of her inappropriate actions with her male students, but had not taken any action, although school officials of course denied this. In court facing 14 felony charges, Brianne defended her relationships with one of the boys, saying that she had no evil or malicious intent and that the students' grades had improved during their relationship. If that doesn't seem like a very strong defense, the judge agreed, handing down a potentially stiff sentence with an unusually wide range, 2 to 30 years in prison. The fact that she was rearrested for having sex with the same student again while out on bail might have had something to do with it as well. At a 2016 parole hearing, Brianne expressed a great deal of regret, saying that she had lost sight of her values and didn't believe what she was doing was wrong at the time. Current sentencing guidelines call for her to be released in January 2020. In 2015, a 14-year-old middle school student from Temple Terrace, Florida, paid a visit to his cousin in a neighboring city. His aunt was a little bit alarmed to see him in the company of a provocatively dressed, very attractive blonde woman who was obviously in her 20s, and gave a call to the boy's mother. Under questioning, the boy admitted that the woman was his 25-year-old teacher, Deborah LaFave, and he had been having a months-long affair with her. Deborah's case ignited intense media coverage, owed to the fact that most male observers considered her to be very easy on the eyes. But her trial was derailed when Court TV, who would be covering the event live, refused to protect the identity of the underage boy. Deciding that a public trial would be too detrimental to the boy's well-being, the judge offered a plea deal in which Deborah would serve 3 years house arrest followed by 7 years probation, but would not serve any prison time. The decision was controversial to say the least. Critics accused the court of finding Deborah to be too pretty for prison, and questioned whether a man convicted of the same crimes would have received similar treatment. She was briefly let off of probation by a trial judge in 2013 before an appellate court decided otherwise, and ordered her to serve her entire probation sentence. 33-year-old teacher Shelley Dufresne began flirting with one of her students at Louisiana's Destrahan High School during the 2014-2015 school year, and even messaged him on social media when he was out sick. The relationship quickly escalated, and after Shelley kissed her 16-year-old student while alone in her classroom during school hours, quickly progressed to sex, more than 40 times over the next several weeks. Things might have gone south right away for the scandalous teacher, but things only got more scandalous when 25-year-old fellow teacher Rachel Repress found out about the affair. Instead of blowing the whistle, she let Shelley use her apartment to carry on the fling. This eventually led to threesomes between the student and his 2 female teachers. And if you know anything about high school boys, then you know the situation didn't stay secret for long. Shelley had a hard time finding a judge to try her, because she is the daughter of a judge, and one had to be brought out of retirement to hear her case. Incredibly, she was given a 3-year deferred sentence conditional upon completing mental health treatment, meaning she avoided jail time. But another trial in a different county is set to begin early this year. Rachel Repress will also be tried on related charges at the same time, and she has pleaded not guilty to them all. Finally, the case of Alexandria Vera is unique to say the least. The Houston middle school teacher was charged with ongoing sexual abuse of a child after her relationship with a 13-year-old student was revealed. But apparently the boy's parents not only knew about the relationship but saw no problem with it. Alexandria even pretended to date the boy's father to throw off suspicion. Child Protective Services became involved in January 2016 after Alexandria became pregnant by the boy, showing up at the school and asking pointed questions. She terminated the pregnancy soon after. But the cat was out of the bag, and she admitted that she had had sex with the boy on an almost daily basis, even letting him sleep at her house and driving him to school in the morning. Pleas for leniency from the boy's family and declarations of love from Alexandria did nothing to help. Facing 25 years to life, she pleaded guilty and accepted a plea agreement that saw her receive 10 years in prison.
What's good, fam? It's Mr. Sycamore back at you with another episode of WIT. On this episode, we're going to be talking about teachers sleeping with their students. Now, you saw the video of the 10 teachers who slept with their students. And if you paid attention to it, you're probably shocked, and then again, you're probably not, that some of them beat the cases. Some of the reasons why a few of the women beat the cases because they were too pretty to go to jail or whatever. That's ridiculous. That's ludicrous. But you saw the video, and I mean, you can think what you think, you can say what you want to say, but it's something that's been going on for a long time, and in actuality, it's getting worse as the years go by. It's not slowing down. These teachers ain't backing down from what they want to do. I don't know if they're book smart but mentally ill. I don't know what the case is. Now, I can sit here and jokingly say, because of the man that I've become, and once again, jokingly people say, where were these teachers when I was in school? What happened to the teachers who wanted the young boys when I was in school? Now, I did a story about this over on my show, Mr. Sycamore's Place, over on blogtalkradio.com. If you want to go over there and check that out. I may upload it one day. I do have a few videos from over there that I bring to my YouTube channel for you all to check out. But back to this story. These ladies, I don't want to say girls because they are of age, but these ladies these days that are teaching, they're in their early to mid to possibly late 20s. So they haven't long been out of high school and just finished college or whatever it takes for them to become a teacher themselves. So they're still young, some of them. Still no excuse. Our children are being sent to school to learn, have a little fun, but have that fun with their classmates or with their schoolmates, not with their teachers. And like I said, I could have joked. Now I can say jokingly. Now, if I would have said this 15, 20 years ago, I probably would have meant it. What happened? And I was asked the question of, well, what if, you found out that a teacher was having sex with your young son? My son is 15. Or with my daughter at the time, who when she was younger, she's 18 now, but still. If I was to find out that a teacher was having sex with my young child, or my young children. Now, back then when I had the immature mind, I said, yeah. If I found out that a man or a woman had sex with my daughters, death becomes them. But if a teacher had sex with my son, I'm like, hey, way to go, boy, you did something your daddy didn't do. Yeah, I've said that stupid stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of men who've said that stupid stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of men who probably would say that stupidity now. But now some of these kids were 17, 18, even 19, but they were still in school. As myself, I graduated at 19. I failed one year, I graduated at 19. Even though I was of that legal age, if a teacher would have been intimate with me, it would have still been out of bounds because of the teacher-student code. Now, when I was growing up, 80% or better of the teachers looked like they was probably about 70 at the time. We had a few of them that might have been in their 30s, a few. But back then they didn't play the radio, and they especially didn't do it with no elementary school students. Now, when I got in high school, I do know of a few teacher-student flings, that went on, and like a lot of other students who that go and tell stuff. No, it wasn't for me to tell that, Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. I was young. I was in school. I was naive. Maybe I was wrong for not telling it. But then again, like I said, it wasn't for me to tell. But anyway, these teachers who are having sex with these, let me just run down. You saw the video, but let me just run down a few. And this is 2017, people. This is nothing from years before, whatever. Some of it is from the end of last year, and the cases started this year. But it was like end of 16. Majority of them happened this year, 2017. I'm not going to read the stories. I'm just going to give you a few of the cases. And remember, it's only June. We have 6 more months to go. And Texas and Georgia are just running things with this stuff. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying that in a good way, but they're running it. Married teacher arrested for having sex with teen student. This was June 21st, 2017 when this was posted. Prep school math teacher arrested for having affairs with 3 students. This was posted June 10th, 2017. Why this teacher who slept with students will not have to register as a sex offender. February 4th, 2017. See, here's one who got away with it. Lancaster teacher arrested after boy said he offered extra credit for sex acts. Now here's one who is a male teacher trying to get male students to perform sex acts for extra credit. Our children ain't safe, y'all. Teacher accused of having sex with students avoids jail. Here's another one. June 1st, 2017. Alright. Special needs teacher arrested for having sex with 15-year-old student. June 14th, 2017. Special ed teacher accused of having sex with student. Ladies and gentlemen, our children ain't safe. We got the male teacher trying to have sex with the boy for extra credit. We got the special needs teacher having sex with students. We got people having sex with the special needs children. So your boys ain't safe from the men. The girls ain't safe from the women. Your special needs children ain't safe from the men or women. My goodness. And I see a story right here that says North Carolina school systems protecting teachers arrested for sex crimes. And this is dated June 16, 2017. So I guess these teachers, some of them are being treated like the police union, doing all this dirt, but they are being protected for these crimes that they're committing. Some teachers in North Carolina have been charged with sex crimes are being shifted to other schools rather than having the teacher's license revoked, is what a report has found. I mean, wow. It becomes clear that some teachers are being allowed to resign in one North Carolina county only to be hired weeks or months later in another one. A follow-up to a January report which detailed the disparities between teachers arrested in the media versus the state-maintained list of teachers' license revocations and disciplinary actions found that in 2016, 22 North Carolina teachers were charged with crimes of a sexual nature involving students. Some of them continue to teach. A case involving a teacher named Troy Pickens who was charged with sexual offense but has yet to show up on the teacher license revocation listing. A Durham police officer arrested Pickens, 26, and charged him with sexual offenses from 2015 involving a 14-year-old female student. Pickens is currently a teacher in Wake County at Durant Road Middle School. Now this is the person who was messing with the 14-year-old student. Look, y'all, I'm done on this right here. I want to thank y'all for watching my video. Like, share, comment, If you hadn't already, hit that subscribe button. Until my next video, I'm out.